Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know what the time is where you're watching it from, but you're all very welcome to an emergency stream on Football Carnage. And the stream is based around Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah, I've been reliably informed, has been the subject of a £220 million bid from Saudi club IITHAD today. And I'm here to discuss it with you guys. Let me know in the chat what you guys think happens now. I'll be giving my thoughts, I'll be giving my opinions, but yours are just as important. Yours are just as important. Yeah, this is where we're at. So, Liverpool Football Club, we know that Al Ittihad have been chasing Mohamed Salah for the last, let's say, 2 weeks of the window. You know, nobody really understands or knows the purpose of such late interest. There must be method behind their madness. There must be a theory. The window, we know, has closed for Europe, I believe. Is it Europe? Yeah. We know it closed last Friday. But we know that the Saudi League's transfer window is still open until Thursday, I believe. And it was always rumored that they will push, they will try to do what they can and test the water, so to speak. And I was on the live Big Six show when I got the news that they've actually, there was rumors that the owner of Al Ittihad is in London, and I suppose it weighs up with the information I received, as I said, around 10:30, 11 o'clock, that they have actually made a £220 million bid for Mohamed Salah. Let me know what you think, guys. I think so. The information that I've received is we haven't responded yet. Probably because it's so late in the day or whatever. I'm not sure about that, but we haven't responded. I think this will depend. I think this will be obviously all about what Jurgen Klopp wants, or not wants, or what he decides. I think it will be put down to Jurgen Klopp. From a business point of view, I don't see FSG refusing this bid if it's solely down to FSG and the ownership. That's my own opinion. I don't think you can refuse £220 million for a player who's 31, going to be 32 next birthday, will have 1 year left after this season on his contract, with, very unrealistic expectations of signing a new deal. It's just an insane amount of money. They were posturing. Their opening bid was 100 million plus 50 million in add-ons, and apparently the add-ons were if they win the World Club Cup, which is fairly unrealistic because Man City are in the World Club Cup. So yeah, they've come back tonight with a £220 million bid. Loads of comments coming through. I don't know what you guys think. What do we do from here? That's the question, really, to be honest with you. Mohammed says, thank you for the super. Says, Brother Grizz, do we really accept this without a real structure in place right now? Also, surely other Saudi clubs may want him next summer. Maybe why these guys are so desperate for it now. Hey, big man, we saying thanks for joining me.
No worries, my G.
Yeah, Mohammed.
I just need to put you on mute because you're on my TV. Give me a sec.
Okay. Cool, no problem. Do we really accept this without a real structure in place right now? What do you mean by that, Mohammed? Also, surely other Saudi clubs may want him next summer. Maybe why these guys are so desperate for it now. Yeah, that did cross my mind because these guys apparently aren't the richest Saudi club, yet they believe that they have done a lot of groundwork behind the scenes in terms of meeting Rami Abbas on a couple of occasions in the last fortnight or so. Keith, I'm just basically filled in from what I've heard today, and it's a very reliable source. Um, that the Saudi club Al Ittihad have actually put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, and have put in a 220 million pound bid for Mohamed Salah, the services of Mohamed Salah. Mohamed asks a question, Keith, do we really accept this without a real structure in place right now? And he thinks maybe we hold on and a bidding war. I don't see a bidding war next summer, bro. I don't see a bidding war next summer. I think oh, he goes on to explain, as in no director of football, no idea around who could they be to.
I mean,
Keith, your just
look,
initial raw reactions, thoughts.
yeah, for your context, I just got back from goals, and I'm in the car driving back from Hayes with my mate, and I read an article on the platform that shall not be named, and I saw the figure, and I said it to my mate, who's an Arsenal fan, and he was speechless, like the because it's not just let's be honest, yeah, it's not just what they have bid, which is a world record fee. It's what they're offering him. It's beyond comprehension. If you do the numbers between the bid and the contract, he becomes the first ever £500 million player.
Wow. Yeah, if you say it like that, the way you say it like that, I mean, look, I don't quite think it's a world record, by the way. I think Neymar still holds the world record. I believe people in the chat will correct me if I'm wrong. Please let me know, guys, in the chat.
I think he was 259.
259. That's right. Where's Philip H's super chat? He says, sometimes you, thanks for the super chat. He says, sometimes you have to take the cash. Take 220 plus 100 mil usual LFC window budget. Buy Mbeumo, Silva, Andre, Decore, and Barella. And title goes back to Liverpool. Keith, is this the Phil Coutinho Liverpool 2.0 moment? Is this that moment? Is this the Liverpool 2.0? Because we've been talking about the rebuild, we've been talking about Klopp 2.0, Liverpool 2.0. We know the first Liverpool super team that Jurgen Klopp built with the help of FSG was massively aided with the Phil Coutinho money, which at the time was sensational money.
Yeah.
Moving on now, this is sensational money. 2023, say what you want, Keith Cross, 220 million pound is an eye-watering, eye-opening,
eye gouging, eye popping, like your eyes will eye backflip.
I literally just got a big six stream and I said, guys, my head's scrambled. I need to set up a stream. I need to speak to the Liverpool community. I need to know what the thoughts are of the Liverpool public and community. How do we deal with this? More importantly, how does Jurgen Klopp, along with his owners, approach this? Now, Keith, from what I believe, from what I've been told, Mohamed Salah is happy either way.
Yeah.
Mohamed Salah is happy to stay, but Mohamed Salah is happy to move if the clubs agree a fee.
And can you blame him? Like at the end of the day, so it was initially it was like a 1.5 million. That's gone up to 2.4 million. Apparently, he will be the ambassador of 3 major Saudi enterprises that will earn him £8 million a year, right? So all in all, every year he's going to be clearing about £150 million a year over 3 years. I mean, like, what at this point, football's just eating itself in that regard.
We said last night, didn't we, on the Red Fellas, and I did ask the question: at what point do we break? There is a breaking point.
There has to be. But you know what the thing is? It's I suppose it's like it's one of those ones where the Coutinho money like clearly addressed two glaring issues in our team.
Yeah.
Like when you get rid, like what do we do with this money? Obviously, everyone's saying, okay, we signed centre backs, but it's kind of like who's going to be on that level? Do you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, the only way that you can almost guarantee to spend this money wisely is if you go after Kylian Mbappe. That is, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, that is the fees that and Qatar and if you, that's what I can think of, mate.
Come on, man, Jared Bowen, man, come on, run.
Jared Bowen. Karen Brady's gonna go. Well, I think Jared Bowen's worth 150 million to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Leon says, brother, we love Salah, but we love our club more. 200 million would get us a rebuild. It's the sensible thing to do. Sensible from which aspect, which angle? Guys, what does Jurgen Klopp do from now until January? And even in January, if he was to take the money now and say, look, let's just stick in the fight for top 4. Let's stick in around there because we've had a solid start. Let's survive until January. What's to say there's certified guarantee that we'll be able to secure a target in January?
No, none.
People are saying Elise 60 million. Elise is not a goal scorer.
No way.
I mean, look, first and foremost, what are your thoughts on how Jurgen Klopp deals with this? Because again, I think FSG are ready to accept this offer. Let me tell you now. FSG are ready to accept this offer. Unless Klopp says no.
Klopp is a man of principle. Klopp is a man of you know, he's strong in his beliefs. I just can't see Klopp saying yes. And purely for the fact that this bid has come so late. Because of the fact that it's come so late into the year, to this, I can't see Klopp saying yes. I can see Klopp saying we should at all costs not sell him. Like, I suppose his argument is, what do you need all that money for?
No. I think his argument is, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, well, this is it. You're getting rid of your most creative player, right? A part of the leadership team. Yeah, he's one of the 5 that were put board into the leadership team. Our top goal scorer and our most influential player from a marketing perspective, and the man to lead us into the Champions League next season. Like all of those, like if you look at the 225 million pounds that it's going to cost, at least 100 mil of that will be from Champions League qualification anyway. So in truth, you're netting that 100 million pounds, and then you lose Mo Salah, and then all of a sudden it opens you up to other bids again, because again, FSG is so crazy. I almost think to myself, Grizz, was the deals with Fabinho and Henderson to really test FSG's model? And did they test the waters by making those bids and getting them over the line and really think, well, actually, do you know what? These guys will sell if the price is really right. Because ultimately, FSG were, when you think about it, planning to effectively take Fabinho and Henderson away, 2 players that were nowhere near being sold and actually were crucial to us going into the new season. So I feel like by doing that, and now if it's kind of like, okay, if they accept the Salah bid, Alisson looks good. Do you know what I mean? We could do with a big goalkeeper in the Saudi league. We don't have any big goalkeepers in the Saudi league with a big name. Van Dijk's turning 33.
Where do you stop, basically, you're saying, right?
Where do you stop? Where does it stop? And you know what the crazy thing is Liverpool aren't the only team that are built for sustainability, right? There's a lot of clubs in the Premier League. Their sustainability beliefs are going to bite them in the backside, because this is just a show to say that they will spend the money if the money's right. And based on the way that you do business, it's hard for you not to accept.
KD says it's not sensible. Saudi will be there in January or next summer. They want him that bad. Clubs will rinse us knowing we have that money. Unfair to the other players and their season too. So I think KD is basically saying it's not sensible to accept the bid. I think that's what he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because he's right. They won't stop until they get their man. And their man right now in their sights is Mohamed Salah. We know that. They know that. And for that purpose and for that, because of that, it does not make any sense to sell him now. The only thing I will say, Keith, and I said this on the show last night, and me and Evan disagreed on it. I don't think they offer this kind of money. And they will have told Liverpool that it's £220 million now. But if you don't want to sell him now, come January or summer, it will be 100, 150. And that's a difference of 50, 70 million. We're saying it like it's 50, 70 million. We're brushing off, but
it's a lot of cash. It's a lot of cash. That's another player, really. That's a big player that we lose as a result of that. If they come in, but then the other argument is that, you know, does it create a bidding war? Does Mo Salah, for the benefit of Liverpool, I'm now being hypothetical, really, trigger that extension in his clause, which he does have, adds a year, and then agrees with FSG that they let him go?
That's a whole different can of worms.
All right, triggers the clause, goes in January once we qualify for the Champions League, and guarantees FSG gets their money. He gets another year. I just don't see, like, all we're saying with Salah is that he'll leave because the club accepted the fee, and quite frankly, his contract is ridiculous. But he's not desperate to play in the Saudi league.
No, absolutely not.
Thank God.
And this
really.
this is total opinion and speculation as opposed to information that I believe that I received about the bid. This is where the speculation part comes in at this stage, where Mohamed Salah probably wants or thinking, right? So this is pure speculation. I agree with you. I think Mohamed Salah still thinks and is elite levels, like we discussed on the Red Fellas last night. He still feels he's got things to prove in Europe with Liverpool, Champions League, all that kind of business. He's not looking to retire, semi-retire, call it what you want, but that's what the Saudi League is at this stage. No disrespect, Saudi listeners and viewers and subscribers, but at this stage, it's a kind of a semi-retirement league right now. In the future, 4 or 5 years time, it may be the most competitive league, whatever. But right now, you've got still all the best players still playing in Europe. This will be the first, I believe, still pretty much prime world superstar that will enter the league. And this is why I think they're prepared to go crazy on this guy. But from Mohamed Salah's point of view, surely you're not desperate to go. And he's not, I don't think.
It's the jewel in the crown moment, isn't it?
Jewel in the crown moment.
It really is. It just had to be us. It's really interesting. I was just really intrigued that they just didn't go full on for Kylian Mbappe, but then I suppose that's where.
No, but they did. Not these guys. Who went for Kylian Mbappe?
I want to start. Was that
someone else? Someone remind us. Someone tell us who went for Kylian Mbappe, and they bid. They bid £200 million for him as well for a 1-year loan. Think what they just done there. They've bid for 1-year loan, 200 million.
And
it's a bottomless pit for them. It's nothing for these clubs. Al Hilal, they're saying, yeah, they're confirming it was Al Hilal. Cooley says, people saying we replace in January. Teams don't want to let go of their players in the inflated market, especially when they know, or if they knew that we had this kind of money. Could affect Champions League hopes. We'd still get 100 million next summer. I agree. The base figure, even if we refuse this bid, and I believe we will refuse this bid, the base figure will still be, I think, 100 million plus bonuses next summer, which is 100 million less.
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you, that you answering that question, I mean, you know, as a businessman, Grizz, this is what I'm saying. There is no feelings or emotions in business. There's no heart in business. You know what I mean, business is cold, business is calculated, business is numbers. that's my biggest fear. You know, FSG ultimately are businessmen, and to walk away this summer with now we put, what's it, 225 million pounds plus effectively 52 million pounds, so almost 300 million pounds for 3 players past the age of 30 in a model that promotes getting players under that age. You're in the boardroom right now.
It's not even a question. If you're in the boardroom and cold facts and cold business, like how you've described it and put it there, and we know whether you're FSG in, FSG out, shake it all about, who gives a shit? How you've described it is exactly how they operate. And that's the cold, and that's it. They look at cold, hard facts, numbers. You've just said that's 300 odd million for 3 players, way past, okay, 2 way past their prime. And one Mohamed Salah, let's be honest. I know we keep saying he can play until 34, 35, but at his optimum best, another season as well. And not even that. The crucial part is he's got 1 year left. He won't sign a new contract.
No.
He won't sign a new contract. So therefore, you're essentially saying 300 million for 3 players that you would have
let go for free, because that's what would have happened with Henderson and Fabinho, right? They would have just been let go for free.
Yeah. They would have run down their contracts. KD says they will pay. KD says they will pay big money. Then also, how much do we lose on shirt sales, marketability, top 4, having the biggest Muslim star in the world? Is that worth losing extra £50 million next year if we only get 150 million? KD makes a good point as well. He says we lose all of that, yet we can, if we hold on and we get 150 million pound next year, it'll still be worth it. We lost for the sake of 70 million, let's say.
Look, to KD's point, if you can put that on a graph, then the business guys may look at it. I just struggle to understand whether shirt sales are really as profitable as we as fans like to believe. I think it sounds, I've always heard this comment about shirt sales and stuff like that. When we look at the commercials, I'm right in saying that Mohamed Salah owns the rights to a lot of his commercial deals, right? Yeah. It's not a club thing. We don't, it's the reason why we fell out with Mason Mount, I think, in the end, because rights deals on his commercials were a big stumbling block. So, you know, as good as that sounds on paper, I would argue from a marketability perspective, how much are we really making from him? You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
The Liverpool brand is probably my argument.
I'm sure we are profiting from that aspect, but I'm sure he's profiting more on a personal level than the club, because it's Mohamed Salah. Mohamed says 100% will get good money next summer. He's the biggest star in the Middle East. Saudi needs Salah more than Salah needs them right now. That's a very good point. And we've said that as well. Like Salah, they need Salah, whether it's now, whether it's January, whether it's summer, whether it's the following summer.
But it's that Club World Cup, isn't it? That's what I think is also getting nuts.
This is why they're pushing.
And let's get geopolitical for a second, because who's coming into town from Abu Dhabi? Manchester City. Yeah, let's get, because we have to factor in geopolitics into all of this. Just like you said, the reason why Mbappe did not go for £200 million for a loan move to Saudi was because ultimately the Qataris were never ever going to allow their crown jewel to leave one of their clubs. In the same respect, you've literally got a team invested by Abu Dhabi coming into Saudi territory to effectively win one of the tournaments that you want to win.
Look at this. Rain says, Grizz laughing like he's getting the money. Mate, if you're happy for Mo to go, do not complain about our season going to shit after. Like, I'm laughing at the situation, and I'm laughing because I'm a happy man in life. I'm not laughing that Saudi team has made a world record bid or close to a world record bid for one of my players 1 week or a few weeks into the season. You stupid man or woman.
You,
Why would I
if
be happy for my star guy to go? I'm just assessing the opinions and situations and and all the scenarios. And of course, people are saying he's the best player in the team. Of course he is. But this is the question we asked yesterday as well. Are we good enough? Because look, we're not winning the league. Man City are going to win the league. We will challenge, and yes, we should do much better than last season. If we're not going to win the league, our priority after the disaster that was last season is to, at the very least, get top 4 or top 5, as the case may be. Is this team, is this squad good enough to finish in the top 5 without Mohamed Salah?
first of all,
Guys, you let me know. Guys, you let me know.
To Rain, I just have to say, there's a phrase that we have in here. If you don't laugh, you cry. So we have to.
The fact that I'm laughing, it's not. I'm laughing. I'm happy my guy's going and the team, and you idiot. I mean, how would you think that? People are saying no. The consensus is without Mohamed Salah, we don't finish in the top 5. Guys, remember, it's not top 4. It's top 5 we have to finish without Mohamed Salah. Because ultimately, if you don't win it, then you have to qualify for the Champions League, right? It doesn't make no difference if you're second or third or fourth, or does it? A cup is a cup. If we win a cup, all well and good. But the crux, the main question will have to be, I think it may. I don't think Jurgen Klopp entertains this. Let me just put it out there. In my opinion, I think Jurgen Klopp says no, because the season is finished, the window's finished. I cannot replace him until January at the very least. You're making life very difficult for me if you accept this bid. And if Jurgen Klopp says that, then Mohamed Salah isn't going anywhere. But if Jurgen Klopp looks Mohamed Salah in the eye and says, do you want to go? And Mohamed Salah says yes, which I don't believe Mohamed Salah will say yes, then I think he stays, and I think we refuse the bid. Even though, I know I'm trying to cover all angles, but this is the state of play. Even though, like we've discussed, FSG are cold, ruthless businessmen, they will accept this bid.
How political do you think this gets?
I think this gets political.
Because remember,
I think tomorrow is a huge, huge day. I think, obviously, huge meetings will take place tomorrow, and they will have to make a decision tomorrow. There's no. Apparently, from what I understand, we haven't responded as of yet. We haven't refused it. We haven't accepted it. We haven't acknowledged it. Tomorrow, I think, is D-Day.
Mike Gordon resides in the US, right?
I'm not sure where he would be there.
Interesting. He's definitely. Is that what he's put down as like? Oh, that's tomorrow. Oh, yes, Labor Day in the US. So he's probably just said, you know what?
What does that mean?
They get it's like a bank holiday for the. They have a thing called Labor Day, so they've had the day off today. It's like a public holiday. So I wonder if Mike Gordon said it's a tomorrow problem, and just ignored his email. I don't know how you ignore that, but an email's been ignored. But yeah, you're right. I think it's just again, my fear is that a real big fear of mine is that like we're obviously talking about it from money perspective, from bids. We're
on the pitch, yeah. On the pitch, let's look at on the pitch.
Sorry.
So go on. What aspect? I thought you said let's look at on the pitch.
Oh yeah, no. My biggest fear is that how far does this go up the ranks in the Saudi political sphere? Does MBS give Rishi Sunak a call? he gave Boris Johnson a call for the Newcastle bid. This is how big it is, Grizz. I'm being dead, like genuinely serious. Like we are in such a pickle here because we have at our disposal the face of the Arab world in football, and there's never been, and there isn't any coming up at this moment in time. Maybe the well, he's Spanish, but obviously he's got Moroccan descent. He's from Barcelona, but I mean he's still a few years away. 16-year-old. So this is
Oh
it.
yeah. This is
This is it. This is the guy, and it just so happens to play for Liverpool Football Club.
Who's reported this total eclipse? And please don't tell me Indy. Who's reported that now? Because as far as I know, I'm the only one who's reported the bid. But if someone's reported that, do let me know. I'm pretty sure that would be Indy. My guess would be.
My man.
A good friend, Indy. There you go. It is Indy. I knew it. There you go. Yeah. This is sleepless nights, brother. I mean, look. Yeah, okay. Before total panic stations, whatever, I think Jurgen Klopp refuses it. I think Jurgen Klopp refuses to sell Mohamed Salah. I think Mohamed Salah doesn't force this. And I think that's enough to not have this bid accepted. Mohamed Salah stays at Liverpool. But either one of those two factors change tomorrow, overnight, then we're shaky waters because FSG are ready to accept this bid. So there's three factors: Jurgen Klopp, Mohamed Salah, FSG. From our aspect,
yeah,
FSG are good to go.
Yeah.
Let's not. I'm not even going to try to paint them in a good picture, whatever. They're not saying no. They're saying, yo, Jurgen. Yo, Jurgen.
You know what we could do with this money?
I don't even know if they're saying that. He's saying I've missed out another super chat. Where's the super chat? Setting an extremely dangerous precedent, saying Saudi can come in whenever they want and take the biggest clubs players in the world whenever they can, though, my brother. They will, though, my brother.
This is only the beginning.
And they will.
This is only the beginning.
This is only the beginning. They can and they will. Doesn't matter how much we think our players. Listen, if they manage to prize away or even get Mbappe to think about it, and Mbappe is the greatest player in world football right now at a prime age. Even if they got him to think about it, that's still something.
Yeah.
They will get the tier below players next summer, I believe. Players like, just names out there, Frankie de Jong, I think will be tempted. I'm just putting names out, you know.
Yeah. Luka Modric.
Modric, okay, but Modric is old. I'm talking players that are still young enough to be active in Europe and are active in Europe.
Like a Valverde, for example, who's been disgruntled with his place at Real Madrid lately. I mean, who was it that they got that they offered him? One of my favorite stories of this, actually, what really made me laugh. Yannick Carrasco. There's one man who knows how to get the bag. It's Yannick Carrasco. The man went to China at 22, got paid, came back, played a few years at Atletico, got offered £18 million contract, went out to Saudi again. That was one of my funny stories in all this.
It's unbelievable. Just got in the stream. Shane says, but surely we reject. Money will be there next year, probably 150 plus. His wage will be there too. Have to reject. His wage is his problem. That's his issue. That's for him to accept or deny, or accept or reject. We're not really bothered about how much he gets or the personal terms. We'd only be interested in how much the club would get. I can't see the club getting 150 in the summer, Shane. I genuinely can't. I think the summer would be 120, £100 million less. That's my fear in terms of the way they'd look at it. We definitely need new owners.
Well, the amount of money that Saudi are spending on us, they might as well be our new owners.
This is
might as well buy a stake in us at this stage.
This is it.
What's the point? I mean, what? They only put us on the market for 4 billion. They carry on with this. They might as well just own us and just move players in between clubs. This is actually a minority investment when you really think about it, the amount of money that they're pumping in. And again, you know, like we say about new owners, with all due respect, look at the models that pretty much every Premier League club works behind, bar Man City. And this is the interesting thing. Every other club is under a sustainability model, right? Chelsea, with all due respect to the amount of money they've spent, they've sold a lot of players as well, right? And they've got players on cheaper contracts than they've ever had in their entire life. They are working towards the same model as FSG. Arsenal, again, worked to that similar type of model. They spent a lot of money to try and chase success, and they've indebted themselves a bit, but it will all balance out eventually. Premier League clubs and European clubs as a whole work towards this model, and it is prime pickings for Saudi. It's prime pickings
because they don't want to wait. That's what Shane says. They don't want to wait, Grizz. They want him now. Hence the crazy effort that they're doing. But it's so naughty of them, Keith. It's so naughty of them. I don't understand the dynamics of it. Why would they put Liverpool in this predicament? If they wanted him so badly, and we get why they wanted him so badly, that's self-explanatory. We don't need to explain why they would want him for the reasons that you've said. But why now? Why put Liverpool in the corner like this where they know we can't replace? Unless it's a publicity stunt.
What the FSG saying?
In the market, everyone's talking about IITHAD, Saudi, SALAH, Super League, Saudi League. They know realistically they're not going to get him now, but we've set the foundation. We've got the world of football rocked. We're ready to pay X amount for Salah now, or we'll give you 100 million next year.
Yeah, what happens if FSG called it?
These kind of things are all about PR. People underestimate how PR works and how important and vital PR is in the world of sport and politics, guys. And this is a combination of both. This is just not a sporting venture. This is a political venture. Combine the two, PR is massive. PR is huge.
Well, let's talk about PR, right? Because the Saudi government invests millions. I mean, some of the biggest PR agencies in the world work for the Saudi, for PIF investments, to create a narrative. Like, people are always quite, like, I don't know what the word is, I see it on Twitter, upset that Sky Sports and all the papers keep going on about it. But remember, there's a lot of PR companies behind them that want to push this narrative. So I can see it very much being an opportunity to put more eyes on IITHAD. My question is, if it all blows up in face, I mean, you know, what do they do with the little problem of Jota, who they've literally bought for £20 million 1 minute and basically cast him aside so they can try and go pop up for this vanity project of Mo Salah? It's quite crazy, actually. Life has basically been put on pause while they go and do all of this. I saw that Newcastle Associates thing. I mean, the conspiracy theory would suggest that, you know what I mean?
Could that be viable? Does it make sense in the grand scheme of things?
So rock your main rivals?
You can't rule anything out. I told you, at this level, at this high level of operation, you don't rule these things out. Osman Abdullah says, thing is, even 100 million might not be there next year. If we get a credit crunch and recession in 2024, why risk what you have on the table? No, there's no recession in the Saudi League, my brother. There may be for the rest of the world, but they will have no recession. Yeah. They will have 100 million ready.
Any
but
issues?
That's 100 million less. That's a whole heap of 100 million less than what they're offering right now. This is my issue now. There was another comment that I wanted to speak about. Where was it? I can't remember now. But yeah, look, I can't see it being accepted. I can't see him leaving. That's my ultimate thought. The end game is Mohamed Salah stays. Right? That's the end game. But when the £220 million is on the table, you can't say that with any confidence like you could when there's no, like Klopp said. Did you read into Klopp's words much like I did? Did you see Klopp's statement? Klopp was like, at the moment, there's nothing to talk about, which to me kind of hinted there might be, or he knows that there is something lurking in the background, and they are lurking with a bit. He said, at the moment, there's nothing to talk about. And if there, from what I gathered from that is, if there is, I'll discuss it then. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, type thing. Well, now there's a whole 220 million pound bridge.
He warned us, man. He warned us. Remember when Klopp at the time, a couple of weeks ago, was banging on about the Saudi transfer window being open later than the Premier League, and everyone was saying, Klopp, be quiet, Klopp moaning again. This was before the Salah stuff came to fruition. So he knew something was coming. He knew that something was going to rock the club. And, obviously things get released. Things get released to us today, but I'm pretty sure that they knew that this was coming for
How
a while.
about this angle, Keith? And Chris sends in a super chat, but I think he forgot to add his comment. So I'll read out your comment, Chris, because I'm such a nice guy and understanding. This is what he meant to attach to the super chat. He says, what about the PR for FSG? This will turn the fan base against them massively. Klopp might walk, ? There's so many reasons not to sell. What will this do to the actual value of the club? Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on.
I suppose there's two sides of the coin, Chris. Let's look at what the PR will it turn the fan base against them massively? I think it will turn. I think it will.
If they sell, of course it will, Keith.
But there's gonna be people that are gonna look at that and think. You said it yourself. When is too much? There will be certain people that will look at that and think, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid that it's kind of like, well, like it's almost like a can you blame them kind of thing, right? Again, with our hearts, we're thinking with our emotions, and I agree with Chris, by the way, it is a nightmare. But again, when you look at there's so many reasons not to sell. There's so many reasons not to sell, but based on the model that we work with, there's so many more reasons to sell and accept these kind of bids. And when we look at the total value of the club as a whole, the club getting investment of £200 million in transfers to then repump that back into without FSG. Because remember, FSG, when you look at our transfers over the past 3 seasons-ish, they've been operating at a loss pretty much every time. We've kind of been at a profit of 2-3 million quid here and there, but we've dropped out of the Champions League this season. So that will impact profits. We are paying Mohamed Salah £350,000 a week. Transfer fees, wages are our highest outlet for any football club. So you're getting 350k off the books. You're getting £200 million investment to refurbish a squad, bring in fresh players with lower wages, put them back on bonuses again to try and get them up there within a couple of years' time. There is a lot of value to be had from it. That's what I'm saying. Being the devil's advocate here, being the FSG in the room, there's a lot more value to the club here than meets the eye. We're talking about it from a timing perspective. Yes, it's a shit time. Mo Salah's one of our greatest assets. He's a fantastic footballer, but ultimately, can you take a hit for half a season, maybe even a whole season? Straight top 5, top 4. You know what I mean? By the skin of your teeth, you've got enough attacking talent there to score you the goals.
Wow, I don't know, man. You're painting some dangerous pictures, man.
I hate myself for it. I'm sorry to say, but Grizz, we're on the show. We've got to speak both sides of the coin, right?
Dangerous. You're giving some people sleepless nights, Keith, man. Well, I'm sure you've given. I'm sure you have given people sleepless nights. Anyway, I don't know how they will spin letting Salah go right now. See, I'm thinking the other FSG Pro Public Relations Act. What if this is? What if, Keith? Have you hear me out on this one? How about the theory that they're not enticing, but not saying don't talk to us, just in the hope or just that for the public to see that look at us, FSG, we've just turned down £220 million for your star boy. Show us some respect after you've been slaughtering us for a whole year or two. Yeah. What about that aspect? Is that to be ruled out?
I sit between the lines of I don't think they care. to
It's a great public image.
It's a great power move to suggest that Mike Gordon had a brief phone call with them and said, you know, he may have what you were saying about words, yeah? Maybe when that phone call came in and he said, you know, good afternoon, this is Liverpool Football Club, how can I help you? And then they went, you know, we'll do this, that, and the other. You know, they said, unfortunately, that doesn't meet the valuation of our player. Something along the lines of that. Do you know what I mean? Because something must have been said. It wasn't like, we will never sell Mo Salah to you ever within this transfer window. Do not bother calling us again. That conversation went in the lines of, if the come back and get it. That's my opinion. So whether they did that deliberately to entice, to make them look good by rejecting it and say, actually look at us, or they've done it to actually see what they're really about, I would go with the latter.
Greg says there will be a bidding war next summer and the summer after. Keep Mo. There is something good cooking at Anfield. Win all around us this year and the Champions League next year. Then Salah goes.
Greg, I've been saying that since, believing in that, saying that, hoping that. You know, that's the fan in me. The fan in me. I've been criticized, or I've been ripped to pieces on Twitter about how Mo Salah. Because I've always said, right, I do believe that Mo Salah still cares more for his footballing legacy than money. And people have told me, oh, you know, why would Salah reject that? It's money. It's so much money. Blah 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 blah. You're an idiot. Da 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 da. You're not being realistic. As a fan, I believe that Liverpool in this current state are good enough to challenge for the title season. They continue the way they're going. But as I said before, I've come here today to talk as an FSG puppet. And as an FSG puppet of Mike Gordon, who's paying me a handsome wage, wink. I have to set some realism out to the fan base just to say that, look, these are what businesses look into. You know, I would work in the corporate world myself, not nothing major. No, I'm not doing any deals like this, but you know, I see how, you know, how cold they are, how cold the business is. You know, I've seen man dedicate their 10, 15 years to the business and live, breathe, and sleep the corporate world, and then in a round of cuts, boom, gone. 4-week pay, see you later, done. I've watched people be made redundant in the US, and you know how they do redundancies in the US, Grizz? They don't even give you an opportunity to have a consultation. Sorry, your role is terminated. Thank you for working with us. We'll pay you 4 weeks, and then good luck on your journeys. So you know what I mean? This is what I'm trying to say. Like, the corporate world is cold, and what is happening right now, if they're cold enough, nothing matters more than the balance sheet sometimes. So if FSG do reject that fee, then it will be some statement. It will be some statement.
None of your business says Salah's agent's been very quiet, so something definitely happening in the background. And then Shane refutes that, says Salah's agent also said in August he's staying. I would guess this discussion was told well before the bids were put in. The super chat from KD says, what does this say to the players? We have no ambition for winning trophies this year, but don't worry next year. What does that say to VVD Allison? Thanks, but we're writing it off because money. Makes a good point. How does this look if Jurgen Klopp allows him to leave? Not allows him, but sort of reluctantly lets him leave. Then I think I agree with KD. There's a massive question mark about the ambition of the club and the direction. And Jurgen Klopp himself, right? If he's willing to release Mohamed Salah and say, okay, it makes sense, I just can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see Jurgen Klopp. I can't see Jurgen Klopp.
The real question. Yeah, you're right about Jurgen Klopp. I can't see Jurgen Klopp accepting this. You've just mentioned Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, and Jurgen Klopp. How much is too much for them?
It's got to be. There's nothing that's too much. You can't do it.
I'm not saying that from an effort. This is not. What I'm trying to say is that I think the biggest issue that we have is that Liverpool are the most recently successful team, right? You look at how many players, ex-Liverpool players, have gone to in Saudi right now. Literally, like you've got Wijnaldum, Henderson, Mane, Firmino, Fabinho, right? 5 of the 11 that played in the Champions League final that were core for winning Liverpool the Premier League are now in Saudi Arabia. 5 of them, as it stands. Something has to be said for the fact that we've been recently successful, and now these players are coming towards an age where a sustainability model would consider them to be past their peaks. Alisson aside, Virgil van Dijk is one that I would have to keep an eye on going into next summer. I'm telling you.
Klopp's hamstring says Mo told them to compensate us well. They are. He's ready to go, Grizz. Compensation. I don't want compensation, man. I want Mohamed Salah to stay. I want Mohamed Salah. I don't want compensation. Transfers, you know, you know what they say about transfers hits? That's 50-50 success rate. I ain't willing to take that risk.
No.
Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah is certified gunman. And I mean, I'm not willing to take the money and risk. Do you remember Gareth Bale and Spurs?
Yes.
Remember Harry Kane and this time around Spurs? All right, they're doing well at the moment. How many times you sell a star player and then you're not able to? You try to distribute that amongst the 3-4. It doesn't always work like that. Do you remember we done it? We sold Suarez and brought in Carroll and who did we do?
No, we brought in Balotelli and then Benteke.
So, you know, it's easier said than done. But listen, guys, let's call it a night. Well, let's see what tomorrow brings. Let's look out for this news. I think we will have some news tomorrow, either way. And let's hope that it's good news. A couple of super chats that just very quickly. Worrying they tried to go for Diaz too. He's 26. Yeah, they did. They did. Plano Boy says, why aren't there bids for City players? Something fishy.
Well, they did buy Mahrez, but I get his point. Again, don't sleep on, as I said before, don't sleep on geopolitics in all of this. Yeah, they got Mahrez because, you know, City were surplus to requirements. They're not getting anywhere near Haaland and KDB, no matter what they offer. Difference being, City don't work towards a sustainability model. That's just for FFP fluff.
They get Laporte as well, isn't it? But again,
he was surplus to requirements.
Surplus to requirements, absolutely. Henry won't sleep tonight, Klopp's hamstring says. I don't know, man. You know, he'll sleep fine. Either way, he's a winner, baby.
He's probably laughing.
He's laughing. Guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I wanted to come and share with you the news that I've received today of, it says world record bid from Omar, who set it up. I don't believe it's 220 million. It is a world record bid. I still think, or unless the Neymar bid was in euros. Was it 250 million euros?
Actually, 221 million euros, 198 million pounds.
Oh, shit. So this is a world record bid. Wow.
Yeah.
World record bid for Mohamed Salah tonight from IITHAD, people. World exclusive on Football Carnage. Hope you've enjoyed our little chat. I thought we addressed the Liverpool community and have a discussion about it all. Hope you've liked the stream and subscribed if you haven't. Me and Keith will be here if there's anything breaking tomorrow to discuss it further. Until then, sleep tight and let's see what tomorrow brings. Over and out.
Peace out.